Ask the Mayor with Melanie Kebler, only on News Channel 21.
It's time for our first ever Ask the Mayor segment, which is a new monthly segment we'll be hosting here during our 6 a.m. broadcast. We'd like to welcome in Bend Mayor Melanie Kebler. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Well, we'll jump right in here and get started with our first viewer question. Was a managed homeless camp on the south side of Bend being planned prior to the election, and where do plans for the camp stand today?
So yes, the property that has been identified as a potential pilot project was on the list of properties that we were looking at in 2021. We went through an exercise of looking where are all the places that are publicly owned in Bend, and ODOT at the time owned that land, and there was a potential of a process for them to sell that land to the city, which we've now completed. So that has been going on for quite a while. We are right now waiting for the county to select a social service provider who's going to operate that safe parking site, and then once that service provider is selected, they'll be going and doing additional outreach and question answering for businesses and neighbors near there. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Great, thank you.
Well, Mayor, the next question is, would the city consider a managed camp somewhere on the west side, or are places like Aubrey Butte and Northwest Crossing, are they off limits?
Yeah, there's nowhere in the city that's off limits for affordable housing or for shelter resources, as long as it's complying with our codes. Again, what we look for as a city is where do we own land or control land, or where do public entities control land? And so there's not much of that available on the west side. And I want to push back a little bit on the concept that just because we're providing a shelter resource or even affordable housing, that's something that's necessarily bad for neighborhoods. If they're well managed, which all of the ones in Bend currently are, it's not going to be a detriment to the neighborhood, and it can help people out a lot. So we have also gone through the exercise of asking other public entities that do own land on the west side, like COCC or Bend Parks and Rec, to see if there's any land that they have available. We haven't been successful there yet, but we definitely are always open to private landowners or anybody who has land that wants to participate in safe parking or help us provide more shelter space.
Okay, shifting gears a little bit here. Would the City of Bend consider a tip line and task force for the repair of graffiti?
Yeah, I'm glad this question is here, because I just was driving over the Murphy Bridge yesterday and saw that someone had just tagged down the side of our beautiful new bridge. Not art, just tags, and it's really frustrating to see that sort of thing around town. So we have a way to report. You can use our website. If you go to the top of our website, bendoregon.gov, there's a service tab. I've also got a phone number, 541-317-3000, that people can call. We work to get that stuff removed. If it's particularly hateful, racist slurs or anything like that, we will prioritize getting that removed for sure. And our, people, if anybody knows anything about tagging activity or someone who's participating, we also encourage them to make a report to our police department through the non-emergency line.
Sure.
Well, next up, could you explain or give any insight as to why Newport Road has been closed between College Way and 14th for almost 2 years?
Yeah, it's been a painful one, but really necessary, because we had 100-year-old stormwater and sewer pipes under there. It was really a mess of old systems. And so what we've been able to do over the past 2 years is get in there, fix everything up, also improve the road, and put in some really great stormwater filtration systems that are going to keep bad stuff from going into the river, which is something we've needed for quite a long time. So excited to say the project should be complete by the end of May. We're reaching the end. We thank all the neighbors and businesses for putting up with it, but it's going to be great in the long term.
Okay, so kind of on the home stretch of that project then.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone will be glad when it's done.
Yes.
Yes, yes. All right, well, we're on to our final question here. Residents have been asking for years for a roundabout at China Hat and Knott Road. Would this be possible?
Yeah, always would be possible. It's sort of an intersection. It's right on the edge of Bend's city limits, so it's an intersection of county and city, and it's not on either of our construction project lists at this time. For the city, we just passed a big transportation bond and are focused on prioritizing a lot of those projects that the voters voted in. And so we would have to find additional monies or remove a different project to put this one on. Not to say that it's off the table, definitely something to keep considering, and definitely a safety issue that we want to keep track of.
Sure. All right. Well, those are all the questions that we have today. Thank you so much, Mayor Kebler, for joining us for our first Ask the Mayor segment. We'll have more Ask the Mayor opportunities on the second Wednesday of each month, and our next Ask the Mayor will be on April 12th.